Hello, folks. Welcome to the Genuinely Interested podcast. My name is Roy Bensby, and I'm your host. And I want to explain a little bit about the podcast before we start the show this week. This podcast is an opportunity for me to speak with some of the most interesting people I know that I can find on the internet. So, either with amazing talents or achievements or just unbelievable life stories or invaluable insights into areas that they have dedicated their lives to studying. I sit down with these amazing individuals from all across the world. Really, I've talked to people from Slovenia to the Czech Republic to Australia to countries in Africa and South America, really just all over the world. And I try to ask them the questions that will hopefully help you extract something valuable or learn something new or just get inspired by. And I do hope that you do get inspired by these talks with some sort of a call to action, maybe change something that you wanted to change for a while, or even just enjoy, detaching from the world for an hour and listening to some great conversations. So, whatever it is that you get from this, I do hope that you extract something from it and enjoy the conversations. All these episodes are available on all the major podcast platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Google, and the rest of them. You can also find the episodes on my website, which is roybensv.com. You can find a lot of other information about me there as well, from photos to a little bit more insights into who I am if you're interested. And, you can always go to social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me there. I'm pretty active on both those platforms, although the only ones I have. And I try to post regularly so you can stay up to date. And also be sure to put your email on the website. I shoot emails out with updates, news, any new current information that I have will be sent via those emails and social media platforms. So, yeah, make sure you're in the loop. This week on the podcast, we have Beau and Brandy, and they are a couple from Florida who decided a few years back that they wanted to live on a boat. So they started to put their plan into motion and they bought a boat, started fixing it up, which took a while, started to learn everything because they knew nothing about it. They just knew that this is a dream that they want to fulfill. And they did it, and they bought the boat and they worked on it, and then they learned. And then eventually, about 2 years ago, they set sail and they've been cruising around the Caribbean with their dog Oona, who's a very cute dog. I think she's 15 years old. So it took a little bit of time also for her to adapt to essentially live on the boat with the peeing and the food and everything. But now, from the videos and from what Beau and Brandy told me, she absolutely loves it. And I wanted to talk to them because I love when people take initiative and try something different. Majority of the world don't live on boats and don't, it's not even that. It's just they don't take that leap of faith that everything will be all right once they follow their dreams. And so many of us are so scared to take that leap because, it's understandable. There's mortgages, there's payments, there's family expectation, there's, oh, what if I fail? There's a lot of uncertainty when you go into a new field, all right? And even if you go into a new job, there's a lot of uncertainty. So to uproot your life and to essentially create a whole new reality for yourself, and a new lifestyle. It's a daunting task. It's not easy, but as the old saying goes, if it were easy, everyone would be doing it. So I think the things that are harder to achieve are the things that are worth doing the most. You look at any startup, they don't achieve success overnight. Even the ones that are supposedly overnight, it's years and years in the making before they can achieve that success. So it takes time. It takes time to absorb the knowledge and to implement it and to build something. And now, even now, it's not like they're living this Instagram lifestyle where it's just beautiful photos on a boat, eating tropical fruits and hugging dolphins. It's maintenance and it's upkeep of the boat and it's making sure there are no storms, and there's a lot of issues that come into play. And they have a very interesting story about one night how this boat approached them with a few guys that looked a little sketchy. And, those are real things that can happen. So I feel like their YouTube channel paints a fairly honest picture of what life on a boat is like. And they don't, sugarcoat it. They don't make it out to be something that it's not. And yeah, they're a super, super nice couple. I had a blast talking to them. Their whole energy was just so laid back, so different than when you talk to someone from like a big city. It's a great energy. And I think if this does anything, or if you go to the channel and you watch it, and anything that you take away from that should just be, if you have a dream, and it doesn't have to be being sailing on a boat, it can be anything, right? Starting a new job, trekking up a mountain, whatever that dream is, take the time to learn, to study it, to save up for it, and maybe, either you can go achieve that dream, or it can even be a lifestyle and you can document it, make money off of it. There are a lot of different ways. And that's another thing. Being able to financially sustain yourself while doing this dream is, I think, the most beautiful aspect of it. And that's something that with the internet nowadays, so no reason not to try, guys. Give it a shot. Most likely you'll succeed. Worst case, you don't, but at least you gave it a shot. And without further ado, here is this week's guests, not guest, but guests, and Beau and Brandy. Enjoy the episode, guys.
The Genuinely Interested Podcast.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Roy?
Good.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm enjoying this New England weather, and you guys are enjoying the Caribbean weather.
Oh yeah, it's hot, nice and hot.
What are the temps like?
What? We don't even pay attention.
We don't
to be
pay
honest.
attention. It's just, are we sweating more today or less?
Yeah,
Really?
we judge it on the breeze. Like if we have breeze, then it's no big deal. But if there's no breeze, then it gets a little hot.
It's got to be in the 90s, 100s.
Nah.
Well, humidity wise.
Yeah, maybe upper 80s, lower 90s, something like that.
Is it like just humid year round?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like the humidity is what, because I lived in Israel for the majority of my life,
Okay.
or at least half my life, and when you're by the shore, dude, in the summertime you're talking 90% humidity, but then if you go south, where it gets hotter, but it's dry. So I just feel like it's a little bit better, but like the temps definitely go up. Like it'll go to like the 100 plus.
Woo.
But at least you're not like
bad.
sweating. Yeah, you're not sweating as soon as you step outside the house.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So you guys, you have an amazing YouTube channel, and I've been following your journey for a little bit, and I wanted to talk to you because, I love the fact that you just decided to take a different route. So you just decided to not do the monotonous, regular 9 to 5, live in a house. There's so much to this world. And I feel like a lot of times when I talk to friends back home who've kind of lived in the same town for the majority of their life and never really left, and and it's fine. Like their heart's content and they're really happy with their family and their job and everything. But I just feel like it's such a big world and there's so much to explore, especially like for someone like myself who I love traveling. So to see, a couple like yourself doing that, that's super inspirational. I'm sure a lot of the people who follow you probably feel the same.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. Yeah. You want to say anything?
I think that it's very interesting on the travel aspect because out of my family, pretty much I'm the only one who has had the travel bug to really get out there and go. Whereas, my mom has taken a flight maybe once or twice in her life. So it's funny because she's really happy in her house, but we are really happy just traveling as much as possible. And to do it on the water is really, really awesome.
Yeah. And we did do the 9 to 5 kind of, you know,
had a house,
the
cars.
norm, the expected, you know, and you know, we enjoyed it for a time, but then we found out about this lifestyle just through YouTube and watching other people do it, and we fell in love with it, you know. So we're like, oh, well, let's give it a go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what's amazing, right? Like, majority of people see see the lifestyle, and that's something I also want to ask you a little bit later on. But they see the lifestyle, whether it's you know, living on a boat or van life, or travel vloggers who travel the world and, you know, somehow make a living off of it. But they don't do it, right? They just kind of like, oh wow, that's amazing. Maybe one day, or, you know, he can do it, but I can't because of X, Y, Z. But you guys, you actually did it.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, it's one of those things, if you set your mind to it, for us, that's hard work, dedication, luck, whatever you want to call it. But I think if you really want something bad enough and you work hard enough for it, then anything can be possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So how did you two meet? So let's talk a little bit about you. How did you meet?
Oh man, going way back. We met modeling hair, actually, in Orlando.
Oh wow.
I used to have hair.
In the good old days.
Yeah. Every year, Orlando Convention Center would throw like a hair show.
Yeah.
And Brandy had done it the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
What was this, back in 2015? No, 2005.
Yeah.
Way back.
I didn't even know that was a thing, a hair convention.
Yeah. So that was like my only paying model gig.
But I think that the moment he walked in, it was just over for me. He didn't know it, but we were going to get married and sail the world.
Yeah, definitely didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then at what point, I guess, did you guys decide? Because I mean, I guess so. You met 2005. You know, dated, got married, and then at what point did you say, you know, this? Because there's a big jump from thinking about it to actually starting to do it. At what point did that start to kind of boil and brew and maybe become a reality?
Yeah, well, we kind of jump into things. Like, just jump right in the deep end, kind of, you know.
Eyes closed and big old jump.
We were actually living upstate New York, closer to all my family. And we had been there for 3 years. We were both pretty much born and raised in Florida. So we weren't used to the cold that much. And Brandy was over it. I didn't mind it so much because it was something different.
Yeah.
But we started watching YouTube. We had weird schedules where we barely saw each other. Mm-hmm. So that played a little bit of a factor into it as well. Mm-hmm. But we started watching YouTube and started getting into these sailing channels. So that was probably 6 months before we actually bought the boat.
Yeah.
So not a lot of time in between.
No.
Yeah.
It was kind of like one of those days where we don't remember who started it watching or who idea was. It was just one day we said, we need to get a boat and let's go sailing. And I remember we put a little thermometer budget on the refrigerator and we'd started filling it out. And I mean, it was, I don't know, maybe a couple months. And we were like, forget this. We're not going to wait to get the budget. And we found Saoirse in Florida. And we drove down and found her, and then
that's where it started. That's where episode 1 starts. Buying the boat.
Yeah.
And I mean, how much did you guys know before? Because there's a lot of work. Because you seem like you know, like, your stuff. Like, I remember I was looking at like the first one, like you were putting things apart and taking things apart, and like you knew a lot. I was like, I have no, like, half the time, because there's a lot of linguistics, a lot of words that you use. I'm like, what's he talking about? Like, boat verbiage that I just know nothing about.
Yeah. Okay, so those 6 months, I binged on podcasts. Like I was listening a lot of Andy Schell with 59 North or 40, yeah, 59 North, and then a few others. Jeffrey Wettig was Shooting the Breeze, and just trying to get as much information, looking stuff online. Just having that idea, it drove that passion. It's like I just wanted to consume as much as I could. So
I think that's also why we got a project boat, because we knew we didn't know anything, and we knew if we knew the boat inside out, then we would be better off in the long run.
Yeah, we would know what to do when we got a crack in the hull, or those sort of things. So
yeah. And I think that's so smart, because I'm assuming. I mean, again, this is just my assumption. I literally know nothing about it, but that a lot of people probably want to buy something that's complete, right? That's already done. But like you said, there's a lot of work, right? Repairs and logistics, sailing. I don't know, the even the filming and the editing part, and then navigation. Like there's just so much work that goes into it. And if you just buy something, straight out the box, all you have to just take off the cellophane. But if you work on it, like you guys literally took the harder route, but that harder route led you to actually know much more about the boat, about how to do everything, the day to day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's definitely helped us along the way for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And just knowing that anything can be fixed, it's just having the resources pretty much. But I can pretty much dive into most things and fix them.
Yeah.
So
YouTube.
Yes, YouTube is amazing.
YouTube's amazing. I'll tell you like a short story. When my wife, she had she had this job. This was maybe 4 years ago, and she was in the fashion industry, and she got sick and tired of it, and she was just like, you know what, I want to quit. So she quit her job, and then like maybe 3-4 days later, she was making guacamole, cut her finger making cutting the avocado. We go to the hospital, they stitch her up, and she has no insurance because she just left her job, right? So maybe like a week later, we come back to the hospital to take the stitches out, and the doctor's like, it's going to be about $1,500. I'm like, dude, $1,500 to take out like 5 stitches? They're like, yeah, you don't have insurance. So I told my wife, like, let's go home. I literally went on YouTube, I Googled, like, how to take out stitches. Right. I bought the alcohol and the pad and the thing for like $5 downstairs at the pharmacy, and all good. $5 versus $1,500.
And her finger is still there.
Right. Yeah.
Still there. It's working. It's moving. It's bending.
Yeah. You definitely, if you have the will to do it, look it up and do it, you can save a lot of money for sure. And you learn something, now you have that skill, taking out stitches.
But you guys must have that desire as well. Like, you want to learn, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm done learning. Just kidding.
Well, yeah. It's like, it's trying to reignite that passion of doing boat work. Because when you're out here sailing, there's so much work involved. So wanting to do boat projects it's hard.
Yeah.
The projects that need to get done, I mean, we can't do a sail without it being done, are the ones that get done. Right. Everything else gets pushed to the side. Yeah. I mean, we carried around a water maker for 4 months, 3 months? At
least.
4 months. We had a water maker before we installed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for those 4 months, Beau was running and getting water in jerry cans, whereas we could have just installed it. It was just...
Yeah, so to give you an idea, water maker, basically we could make water by using the seawater and just do it from the boat. Otherwise, like what we did...
It desalinizes it?
Yeah. It throws it through a membrane and makes pretty much, what do you call it?
Reverse osmosis.
Yeah, it's reverse osmosis, but it's... Yeah, it's just basically
purified water?
Yeah, well, it's not. There's nothing in the water, basically.
Completely.
Like they actually recommend that you put stuff in it to have minerals.
Oh, okay. Like no magnesium, all that.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. But so you could have that convenience, or you have to make sure you're at port somewhere that actually you can get water, pay
and
for
trust the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. We spent all of our Bahamas doing that. All of our Bahamas time. Yeah.
And it's just way more time consuming.
So it's better to have it on the boat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we also carried around flooring for the
Forever.
2 years until we got it installed. It's just those little things that will make your life better. But in the moment, going diving or going climbing a volcano or sailing or fishing or whatever seems to take precedence every now and then.
Yeah.
More often than most.
I don't know if you get that with your you got a lot of businesses and such and doing the podcast. Do you ever do you ever break away, or are you pretty focused?
I try to be focused. For me, I'll have days. Like, I'll have days where I'm super focused, and then I'll have days where like I can't focus because there's like almost too much to do, or there's even like now, like when we're living in this house, all of us, because when I'm in New York, it's it's a 1 bedroom. It's pretty. I mean, there's not much to do. Like, you clean it like once a week, it's pretty much done. But living in a big house in Connecticut, there's just so much work to do.
Yeah.
It's literally endless. So I can't even imagine like what it would be on a boat. And that takes, some of your attention. All right, like, because we had a storm a few weeks back, and it took like half the trees in the backyard. So now, like, and there's some trees that are still kind of like wobbly. So now you need to take them down. So there's that to do, right? And then it's constant upkeep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same. I think at least a lot of my friends don't understand that a lot of the stuff that we do here on the boat is what you do at home. It just takes probably 3 times longer. Washing dishes, washing clothes.
Yeah, we don't have the conveniences.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of maintenance on a boat, just like there is owning a house.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, and that's something that you guys just, I guess, kind of brought up, but like there's the that meme, like the reality versus the Instagram life.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Instagram life's probably like, oh, I'm living on the boat in the Caribbean. I'm just suntanning on the deck all day and eating tropical fruit and like, I don't know, whatever it is. But the reality is it's very different, right? There's maintenance, fixing, cleaning, upkeeping. There's constant problems that rise. You have to like look out for storms, and there's just challenges that are happening all the time, right?
Oh yeah.
And editing our videos probably takes most of our time.
That's
the business.
Thinking about what to shooting it, and then editing it. And then there's the social media aspect. Like, there's so much that goes into YouTube that it consumes a lot of our time. And the things that get pushed back are the boat projects and the things that we want to do.
But we really enjoy it. So that's the thing. I mean, could we have the normal quote unquote job out here on the water? We have so many friends who are digital nomads. We could totally do it. It would be super easy. But
yeah, as long as you have internet connection, which isn't hard to find nowadays, you can find a job online.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's like a concerted effort on your end, right, to like make these YouTube videos. And is that something that you from the onset were like, in order to, I mean, I don't know if it sustains you, but I'm sure it helps in some way to make these videos, or is that just something that organically kind of happened as we hoped
it would bring in an income,
but I
also in the beginning, but it wasn't like the main focus. No. It was more of just
it was a way to hold us accountable to actually produce a memory for us, a legacy of all of our vacation. And we knew that if we didn't hold ourselves accountable on producing it and putting out there for people to see, then we would never get it done. We would have hundreds of terabytes of videos that go nowhere. And it just so happens that now people enjoy it, and we get to enjoy producing it for them, and we can make it better and better and better with their help. So that's been fabulous.
Yeah. And like you said, it's inspiring people. So that makes us feel good that we're helping inspire people to want to go out and do whatever it is they want to do,
Yeah. And I mean, have you met any people from, any followers or people that have reached out to you saying stuff like that?
Yeah, we've met a few.
Down in the United States Virgin Islands, we've met lots of people who have been following us, and it's just really cool to be able to meet up with it. And it's funny because we don't know who's watching us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we just want to meet anybody in the sailing community. It's just, there's not a bad person out here, in my opinion.
We haven't run into any like people that are just, kind of like in a city, like in a city, it feels like everybody's on guard. Mm-hmm. But out here, everybody's just so willing to help and be there for you. And you make friends, like best friends instantly, because just we're kind of
birds of a feather.
Yeah, and we're kind of alone out here. So when we meet people, you just connect.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I'm buying a boat. That's it. I'm coming out there.
Yeah. So...
I mean, it makes sense because, and I'm seeing this kind of like now especially in COVID times, because we are social creatures, right? We want to connect with people, and you guys are kind of in your own little COVID world, like on the boat, right? Like you can be alone as much time as you want, essentially. And I'm assuming other people can do that as well. So when when you dock or when you come to all these different places, people just kind of want to interact with each other, and birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah. And then we just go to an anchorage that has 1,001 mosquitoes trying to get into your boat, and you just stay inside.
Right.
Dawn to dusk.
Once you had enough socializing, you can move on.
But that's also on the other side of it, the hard part. You make friends very quickly, but most of us tend to go in different directions. So if we didn't have the relationship that we have, I don't think it would be as easy or as enjoyable, because you don't keep those friends. I mean, those friends that you make, you keep, off of social media, and you talk to them, through the web or whatever, but you don't have that best friend that you can go just hang out and have a coffee with down the street. It's just, So I get to travel with my best friend.
And I mean, that's something also, like, so how big is the boat?
35 foot. We probably have...
I want to know what the living space is.
The living space is probably like 200 square feet, maybe.
I mean, it's the size of a closet, let's be honest.
We could show you.
But it's...
I mean, I've seen the videos, and I guess...
I mean, how big is the cockpit?
The cockpit's huge. It's like 8 feet long.
Okay, so out of that 8 feet, you got to subtract that. So 17?
No, 20.
35. 8.
20.
8 minus 35.
Right now.
27. 27, and then our beam, the width of the boat is 10 foot, but then you've got all the studies. So it's got to be 4 feet. 5. Yeah. I can't even lay down vertical, and I'm 5'5" on it.
with heels.
But yeah, I mean, it's tiny. I mean, you cannot pass each other without touching. You can't. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so one thing that we are constantly doing or working on is our communication and our relationship, because we're around each other so much that it's easy to take all these external things that's frustrating you or whatever and project them onto your partner, so we're always trying to I don't know, I guess better develop ourselves and our relationship,
because you don't have that best friend that you can go to and have coffee and vent.
Or there's not a lot of alone time,
or even just step out your house and go for a it's like like unless you want to go for a swim, or I guess take the what do you call it, the little dinghy, the little boat.
Dinghy. Yeah.
Well, then you feel bad because you're like, you can't leave in anger and like take the only way of transportation off the boat. So
Yeah.
yeah. So you pretty much, it's a forced way of working together, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it definitely will challenge you because we've owned a business prior to this, and we worked together, and we've always had great communication, great relationship, and then just being on the boat, I don't know, it there were more challenges there.
Well, in the beginning, for sure, because we
Yeah.
didn't know what we were doing. I mean, literally, I didn't know the difference between. I mean, I knew starboard and port, but you'd still have to think about which one was which and what was a line and which line went to what line and what it was a sheet and all the terminology. Whereas Beau had been listening to the podcasts and learning more about the terminology. So I was relying on him. And if I couldn't get information from him, then it was harder in the beginning for sure. I think now that we've got a little bit more of a understanding with the boat and how
In
things
each
work
other,
and each
yeah.
other, yeah.
Like,
Because we didn't know how this was going to work with each other on the boat. Like we've worked together behind computers, but we've never been out here with the elements and like our life is on the line if we don't do something right, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I see this with I see it with myself as well, but with friends as well. COVID has kind of forced everyone to work indoors, and there's definitely benefits to that. But I think the downsides, especially when you live in smaller apartments, and I mean, you guys have pretty much like a New York apartment on the boat. That's like roughly the size.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. And there's I know a lot of people are very frustrated, because they're in their little room, they're on the computer all day, and then their significant other is in the living room, and they're with each other all day long, and then they sometimes, like you said, they'll take their frustrations out on their partner. And I know, and I guess that's why I asked about the size, because sometimes it's very difficult to be with another person. Oh, it doesn't matter how much you love them.
Right.
It can, it can get difficult, but it can also, like you said, it can also prove a good test and kind of a way to elevate your relationship and communication. So I guess that's what you guys did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we still do it. We're not anywhere near I guess enlightened.
Yeah. I mean, we're an evolving species. There's always more work to do. Like I think who said it? Muhammad Ali. If you're the same person at 50 that you were at 30, you wasted 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I never heard that. That's
one.
good.
Yeah, he had some good one-liners.
Yeah.
So how has COVID affected you guys? Like as far as not being able to maybe go on certain islands or
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly that. Before we started this back in 2018, we cruised the Eastern Caribbean 2019 before COVID, and we were free to move from island to island and not have to worry about it. Now, they're very picky on where you're coming from.
Like, well, that and if they're open at all.
Yeah, if they're even open to allowing tourism in
boats. Yeah, depending on what. So each island down here, say if it's a French island and we were French, our boat was French flagged, we can possibly get in, or an EU boat. But I think the biggest thing that's affected us is that we can't do long-term planning. Not that we're great on the long-term planning, to be completely honest, but we can't say for sure, like, all right, we're going to go to this island or this island in a month. So we can make sure that we need to do this here, and then quarantine. And we have a dog on board, so we don't want to sit on the boat for 2 weeks under quarantine, which are some of the island's restrictions. If you come into the island, you have to take a test, sit on the boat for 14 days, and then
retest.
No, you come in, you sit on the boat for 14 days, and then you test, and then you have to wait for the test to come back. So that's been something that we've been kind of working around, avoiding. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a headache.
Yeah. But I mean, we cannot complain because we were so grateful that this area, we're in St. Vincent and the Grenadines now, opened up and allowed us to come in, and we only had to do the test and just we waited a couple of days for the test to come back. And now we can just travel all of the Grenadines, which has been really nice, because there's some places that
we haven't been.
You're just, that we haven't been here, but there's other islands that you're restricted certain bays, or you can't go here, you can't move at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, when it all went down, we were in St. Martin, and they pretty much locked everything down. You couldn't even go to the grocery store you couldn't you
weren't supposed to swim in the water.
Yeah,
somebody got a ticket for swimming in the water. He was cleaning the bottom of the boat.
Just
I don't know
what the police force wanted to enforce.
Yeah, it was crazy. So
just a lot of fear and just restriction. It's just we got out of there and went to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where it was more relaxed and open.
We were able to travel around. We were there until we came here. So
So if it's U.S. Owned islands, they make it easier for you to probably get in, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's just the U.S. hasn't been that strict on COVID stuff. So well, at least I don't know
down
about
in the islands.
Down in the islands, not so much, but I don't know about the 48 states.
I guess it's per state. Connecticut's pretty loose at the moment, but people are, from what I'm seeing around, they're acting pretty responsibly. Everyone has their masks on and roughly social distancing, and I think the numbers are kind of going down. I think other states are not doing as well. New York, not great. But again, I don't know. It seems like people are being responsible, wearing the masks, and I think they're opening up indoor dining in New York finally.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's actually kind of nice. Everything's been outside, and so you can just kind of, I don't know, it gives us very Tuscany feel.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of nice, but that's not gonna fly in November, because the winter in New York, it's not no one's gonna be sitting outside. So
it's honestly down here, we have found that it's pretty much the same, with the exception of some shops want you to wear a mask.
Yeah,
restaurants are open as normal. It's just less business.
There's very few cases down island. Like we here in Beckway, we don't even have to wear masks going into shops and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
There just aren't any cases, there might be a few, but there's not many.
We're so removed to what's happening in the States, though.
Yeah. So we don't get our news anywhere. Like we kind of stay away from the news.
Yeah.
I hear it from my dad here and there, but
yeah, I'm telling you, it's like you guys are almost like it's one of those science fiction movies where you come back to the place after a few years, and you're like, wait a minute, what happened?
Monkeys are ruling the world.
Yeah. It's apocalyptic. Everything's been destroyed. I don't know. Yeah, the U.S. is not. This isn't the best time to be in the U.S. So I feel like you guys chose a prime time to just kind of get away from all the shit and all the headaches and all the stuff that's happening right now.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the challenges that we're presented with are one thing, but the freedom that we actually do have that we probably wouldn't have if we were in the States is something that we are so grateful for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you're physically removed, but you're also mentally removed. And just to be separated from the news cycles and from the political tensions and from everything that's going on right now. And that's honestly, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And, getting it from friends and family, because they see it as well, and then they put their spin on it, and they're talking to you about it. So you're just getting bombarded as well from that.
Yeah. But that was something that we knew when we started this lifestyle, that we were choosing to kind of let go some of the stress that brings on. I'm very, very empathetic, and when I start reading those things or listening to the news or watching the videos or things that are happening, it doesn't do very well for me. Yeah.
It's very stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I don't think that does well for anyone. And I mean, I guess that
know.
is that something you've noticed? I mean, how long have you been on the boat now?
2 years.
We've been sailing 2
Sailing 2
years,
years.
but we've been living on the boat since 2016.
But that was all boatyard.
Yeah, it was like we were in the boatyard for a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Are there things that you actually notice? You're like, wow, like this is I'm physically or mentally or whatever, spiritually, whatever, for everyone's different. But is there something you've noticed that's changed over the last couple of years?
100%. All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah, the stress levels are different, but it's different than being stressed for something like that. Our stress levels come from weather conditions and sailing and things breaking or that sort of thing, whereas it used to be all externally
worry.
And
like,
yeah,
I forget where I heard it or read it or whatever, but somebody had said like pretty much 99.9% of the things that we worry about never come true. Right. So we end up worrying about things that just, don't happen. So
yeah,
I try to focus on worrying on things that have happened, problems that have happened. So
yeah, no, it's mentally better, physically better, spiritually better, all of it. It's way more of a slow pace. Now, granted, you can make it fast paced. There's a lot of people out here who are just go, go, go. We choose to stay. Yeah, we choose to stay, and we've really gotten to a chance to where now that we've kind of been not forced to come back down south for the COVID, but to be in an area that we have been in a little bit of area before, that we can kind of slow down even more and really get into the islands and not feel like we're rushing. We're not on vacation. We're living, this is our life, and we've got work and we've got to do chores, but we also have this really different life that we can, I don't know.
It's like our weekends are going out and diving or free diving this reef over here, whereas you in Connecticut are probably going to go hiking or, or go to the lake.
Literally what I do.
Yeah.
But so did it take a while to mentally click in and kind of wait, this isn't vacation, like this is actually our lives? Because it has a vacation feel all the time, right? You're on a boat, the sun's shining, there's dolphins, you're next to an island. I mean, that's literally the definition of a vacation. But for you, that's life. This is day to day. I still have to work. I still have to make sure the boat's running, the videos are being edited, food on the table.
But when a pot of dolphins pop up outside your boat, you better believe I'm diving in.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it took, I don't know, though.
I still sometimes catch myself going, I mean, just yesterday, I'm like, look at those clouds. They just look different here. This is one thing we've tried to be really good about, not taking this for granted. Just looking, like, being in how clear the water is, or how that mountain looks, or how that wave is happening, or the sunsets upon sunsets. It's just not taking them for granted. But I think I don't know. It was like pinch me all through the Bahamas, that this was actually something that we were doing, because we dreamed about it for 6 months and then 2 years of working through it. It was just that dream coming true. And I told Beau yesterday, or a couple of days ago, I'm like, I cannot believe that we're here. Like, I can believe it, but like, wow, I remember thinking back in the day, like, will this ever happen? Will it ever happen? Will you ever be out in that island doing whatever you want to do, or, diving, or I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. But going back to the, your question about the adjustment period, I think because we picked the project boat and we were just focused in on doing projects every day, or, trying to get stuff done, we kind of adopted that into the boating lifestyle. The Bahamas was a bit of a vacation, but a learning process.
Well, also the Bahamas, we hadn't had anything break yet, and everything was brand new. Not brand new, but we had made the boat sailable.
Right. Yeah.
Sailable. And and that way, I mean, it was probably, I don't know, most of the Bahamas that we were just like filming and editing, and that was pretty much it. But now it's just like boat work after boat work.
Yeah, it's kind of like house projects, you know, when one thing breaks or multiple things break, you know, you try to make a list and remember what to fix and tackle the big ones first, but they stack up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny, you know, like I think I said it earlier, but last night we were sitting outside and we bought a little fireplace and we were cooking some things on the fire and like the weather was perfect and I was literally like just eating because it was like this aluminum foil, so we were eating right off the fire. And I was telling my wife, like, I don't think I haven't been as happy as I am now, like for a while. And not to get like too philosophical, but you know, when you are watching like you said, like a sunset, or you're looking at a mountain, or there's a pod of dolphins go by, and you're just so in the moment, like this is such an amazing moment. And a lot of times we either lose that or it's, you know, it's all ephemeral. It goes away. But then majority of people, and I've had many conversations about this with friends, you know, they'll look at, let's say, a couple like you that pursued this dream and are living that, and they'll say, oh, you know, they can do this because XYZ, and they'll come up with their own reasons in their head why you guys can do it, but they can't. And but you guys are, you know, it's ordinary people that, you know, that you just had a dream and you worked really hard and you were able to do it. And I just feel like I don't know why a lot of people, and I guess I don't know if it's society or the culture or just there are many reasons, but we tend to quote unquote suffer or do things we dislike for a long period of time. And then we go and we enjoy life for those small periods, right? Going and watching the sunset or eating at the fireplace or sailing and going to an island. And I don't know why we don't reverse engineer it, kind of like you guys, where why can't I do work while still enjoying every day? You know, and it's not like, again, it's not like this Instagram life where you're working hard, but you're in a place where you're enjoying life as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And, you know, I don't know why we like to suffer.
Yeah.
I guess that goes back to Buddha, right?
Yeah.
Suffering.
I don't know. It's not even the suffering. It's just I don't know why we live a life that is not not in our best interest to live a lot of times.
Yeah.
I think that's more. But yeah, I guess that's a whole deep philosophical thing for another time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys mentioned your dog a little earlier, and you know, I have two dogs. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge dog person. So, how is Oona adapted to living on the boat?
She's good.
Yeah.
She's older now, and we as the years have gone on, being on the boat with her, we've noticed, you know, just her age does impact, you know, just the boat lifestyle. I would say, like she's almost 16.
Yeah.
Actually, she's going on 16.
I think
Wow.
it can be a good thing because she's not the hyperactive puppy that needs to be ran around or, you know, can't handle a small space. Whereas with her, she's sleeping 95% of the time, or we're walking her, but yeah, she's a German Shepherd Chow mix. So she has some degenerative disc back issues. So that's something that we were dealing with right now. But I mean, I love having her on the boat. She doesn't ever show seasickness. She might show a little stressed out if we're in rough seas, but as long as one of us is with her, she calms down pretty easily. But she's been great. I don't know. To me, I feel like she's added an extra bonus to the sailing lifestyle because I think that we wouldn't do some of the things that we've done if we didn't have her.
Yeah, she forces us to get out and touch land every day
and meet people and
meet people.
You know, see things that we wouldn't have seen or yeah.
She's a good conversation starter.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Dogs are great.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Cool shirt.
I like the goggles.
Yeah, or little sunglasses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, dogs are amazing companions, man, and they've adapted so well. You know, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, you see, and I guess this is the question I wanted to ask you earlier, but you see people in van life and they have dogs, and on boats and they have dogs, and just wherever they are, right? Like it's big cities or on the farms or in the cold or in the heat, like they've just adapted so well to living with us. They're just
Yep.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as you guys doing I mean, is there a name for it, or is it just like living on the, but there's no like, you know how like van life, they just coined it like van life. Is there something similar for
Liveaboard.
like living on
Liveaboard.
Yeah.
Liveaboard
liveaboard?
life. Yeah.
Liveaboard.
Oh,
We're called
okay.
liveaboards. I don't know if
All right.
boat life, yeah.
Boat life, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess boat life. But are you seeing, because I'm seeing like for the past few years, there's been this massive trend like on social media, right? There's van life and there's digital nomads and you guys and many others are living and sailing the world and you know, travel vloggers as well. Maybe not as much, but yeah. Is there like, are you seeing that physically, like more of a trend, like maybe more and more people are trying to do that type of lifestyle?
We've
Yeah.
we've ran into quite a few people who, you know, are not retired and have, you know, just are living out on the retirement money, and that's typically who used to do the cruising
Sailing,
lifestyle
yeah.
and the sailing
Yeah.
lifestyle. We are seeing
A
quite
lot
a
more
bit
younger.
of younger, actually even families, like people
Yeah.
starting
Really?
families on boats or have a family and want to share that experience with their kids.
Yeah.
We see quite a bit of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's gaining more and more popularity, especially with the YouTube channels of that they're seeing you don't have to know everything.
Yeah.
You just got to learn. Just get out there and do it. Go now. Just do it now.
Yeah, with the technology,
You know?
sailing's so much easier than it used to be,
Yeah.
because, you know, back in the day, you had to chart out everything, dead reckoning, celestial navigation. You know, you didn't have the amenities that you do now. So it almost makes it like you just more creature comforts, you know, more enjoyable.
I think we're a little more crazy than van life, though.
Yeah.
Crazier.
More
Yeah.
crazy to do something like this.
Yeah, I guess so.
You guys are more committed. Like van life
That's
isn't as
right.
committed.
We're committed.
You're more committed. Van life, you can always turn that sucker back around and drive back home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
It's yeah, I don't know. I think you know, I remember a few years, maybe a lot of years actually, 8 or 9 years ago, I had a friend. He had, and I might screw this up because I'm horrible with boats. I think he had a catamaran.
Yeah.
I don't remember how long it was, but it was a decent size. And he was like, you know, let's go sail to Greece. And that was my first time doing like an extended sail. And it took us about 3 days. And first 24 hours, I was just horribly seasick.
Oh, no.
I was just, yeah, I was not enjoying it. I was like lying down flat. I was actually supposed to I had like a shift at night. I was like, dude, I can't get up. I'm about to throw up. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
But after those 24 hours, like the whole time was absolutely amazing. And like you said, like he had so much technology there. Like he knew every bay. Like he had an iPad thing set up and like with satellites, and I was just amazed. And it almost like, and I'm sure he has experience. I think he's a skipper actually, but it just seemed like the technology allowed for the whole experience to be much more fluent and much easier and safer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely safer. You
know,
do hear
200
people. What's up?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you do hear of people going missing here and there, but I mean, people go missing in cities, you know, or wherever. So, what were you gonna say? 200?
No, I was saying like 200 years ago. You know, these guys, they would leave Europe, you know, going exploring somewhere. Like they had no navigational systems, GPS, no weather patterns. They were
Some
just
of them
like,
thought the Earth was flat.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're like, you know, we're gonna hit a point where we're just gonna drop off. to their defense, there's still a lot of people on YouTube that think
that is true.
Right.
That is true.
That is
To each their own.
Have you found that? Have you found the edge?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No. Not quite looking for it either.
Go more west. I hear it's more west.
Yeah.
Right.
Have traveled through the Bermuda Triangle and have lived to talk about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Did I say
That was,
fly?
a
Sail.
huge thing.
Yeah.
Sail, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
sail.
huge thing back in the day. Remember that? Like
Yeah.
everybody, I remember like there was like a huge, I don't know if it was a conspiracy theory because again, like I know very little about it, but I do remember like, oh, if you passed through that area, you would just disappear, right? That was
Right.
the myth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were TV shows about it, like
Yeah.
Unsolved Mysteries and all that, right?
Yeah.
About like pressure and
I think it's just a weird a high electromagnetic area, and
can't read your
instrumentation goes crazy, and there's pressure drops and just weird anomalies happening in that area.
Huh. But you're still here. You survived.
survived.
Yeah. Nothing happened to us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you see yourself maybe, because you've been in the Caribbean area for about 2 years or so?
Yeah.
Do you see yourself maybe like expanding, going east, maybe, going around the Mediterranean, crossing the Atlantic, something like that?
We
We
talked
want to go the other way.
Yeah, we want to go South Pacific.
Yeah.
We honeymooned in Fiji and New Zealand and fell in love with that area. Two really different spectrums there, New Zealand and Fiji, but same area. But just loved it.
That's been like the goal bucket list to sail back to where we honeymooned. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a big sail, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But we'll probably do, again, it's so hard to say with COVID, but we're hoping maybe that ABCs, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, or possibly going over to Mexico or shipping we're an all electric sailboat, so we don't have the power necessarily unless we did a lot of modification to get through the Panama Canal. And the canal, to transit the canal, they've raised the prices even more so. So we've talked about shipping, trucking Oona, trucking Saoirse over and, getting her in the water on the other side and doing Sea of Cortez, or there's so many ideas.
Yeah.
But we haven't, the Med isn't really the number one.
No.
Sail-wise.
We've heard good things. We've heard bad things about the Med.
Yeah. But remember how I don't like to be cold.
Yeah, she hates the cold.
Mediterranean's hot.
Year round? Or no?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, it gets a little chilly. I guess depending where you are in the Mediterranean, but for the most part, it's pretty warm. Maybe not as warm as where you guys are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, let's just keep going south. But not as
hit
in Antarctica.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The Mediterranean is beautiful. I remember when we took the boat, we kind of just went between like the Greek islands and Turkey. And the thing that I loved the most was, I remember the first time that we saw land for the first time was like after 3 days or so. And we docked, and there was a restaurant like literally there. Like your first kind of like step off the boat was at a table, and the guy's like serving you like fresh food. And I was like, this is the only way you could experience something like this. Like, there's no other way you could experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
yeah.
So, I mean, that's something that you guys probably kind of experience on the daily, right? Like, there's no way that flying into somewhere and then taking a taxi and going to the hotel, like, there's no way you could experience anything remotely close to what you guys are experiencing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's way different.
There's some islands you can't even fly into.
Oh yeah, there's like where we're at right now, you'd have to hire somebody to get a little speedboat, and you'd just be here for maybe an hour or so just to check it out. Whereas we get to anchor right here, and we can stay here as long as we want and truly like deep dive, explore it, get us immersed into whatever it is that we want, the culture, the the nature of it.
Yeah.
What have been some of your favorite spots so far?
Man, we did the
Canawan.
Tobago Keys, Canawan.
Where we're going back to today, Canawan.
Okay.
Beckway is real nice. That's where we're at right now.
The reef here
Yeah.
in Beckway and Petite. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard because it's like, I love it.
Actually, the U.S. Virgin Islands, we were super surprised at how pretty it was there.
Really?
We heard,
It's
heard
reviews.
from other people in reviews that it was just stay away from that area.
Yeah, there's a couple of good spots that we found and we really fell in love with. And I would say that 100% our hands down favorite so far is Barbuda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Next, yeah.
That's up Antigua Barbuda.
Yeah.
It's kind of where the chain turns.
Yeah, the elbow.
The elbow, yeah. So you have like the island of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, USVIs, BVIs, St. Martin, and then it goes Antigua and it turns south.
Mm-hmm.
The chain turns south.
It was just
so it's like right there.
Very off remote, pink beaches. I mean, it was just little postcard. It was 100% pink.
Yeah.
They told us there were some pink beaches in the Bahamas. This one, like the Bahama, it was pink.
Wow.
It was
cool.
It was so good. It was so cool. Yeah, it's just little things like that just make each island so different. I mean, the underwater is different. The land itself is different. It's the people are different, or the fruits and the vegetables that you can get are different. Well, not always.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like languages, right? Like anything from, I don't know, Dutch to English to French to Spanish to there's just, I don't know, their own languages. There's just so many.
Yeah.
And even here in Beckway, they speak English, but it's such a heavy island dialect that they can't understand me and I can't understand them,
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, I guess it's centuries of like different colonizing powers that came to that area and just, made it what it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you guys do as far as food? You try to, kind of live off the land or off the ocean, so to speak, and fish?
Yeah, but I think we would starve if that were the case.
I mean, the past couple of days have been really nice.
Yeah, we when we have the time to go out and fish or, lobster or whatever, we're getting better. But for the most part, we just hit up the grocery stores that are around. So we eat the local food.
Yeah.
We typically a lot of veggies and
we follow more of a keto diet, but we stocked up a lot in USVI. So, our oils and things that we had an advantage this go around because we'd already been down this way and we knew what we could and couldn't get. So when we were in this USVIs, we stocked up on a lot. So, but yeah, we like to eat local. That means a lot of cabbage because there's not a lot of things that grow down in the islands. Maybe some avocados, onions.
Yeah, most of the produce is shipped in, whether it be from the States or Europe.
Because it's a lot of volcanic. A lot of these islands were formed volcanically, so there's not a lot of.
There's rich soil.
There's some rich soil, but still, there's a lot of rich soil, but it only is giving you mostly root vegetables. So, or like breadfruit and bananas.
I think it's because of the heat, maybe. Yeah. They can't grow the lettuce and all that stuff.
Yeah. They do have some local lettuce, but yeah, we tried. But mostly, ideally, we'd be fishing.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get to catch a fish today.
I would think like they would have a lot of like, I don't know, because I remember I lived in Africa for a few years as a kid and in Ghana. So it's tropical. It's close to the equator. And they had like just so many different fruits, right? Like pineapples and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No, not the same.
There's a lot of mangoes.
Mangoes, papaya. There's breadfruit.
Not really.
It's more like a starch. Yeah. But
that's
not that diverse. When we were in the South Pacific, I think we had a more diverse fruit selection.
Yeah, the Bahamas was even more barren on fruits and vegetables. Yeah. But pumpkins and cabbage, they can grow anywhere, I guess. So
Yeah.
we have a recipe for cabbage every which way there's possible. And I mean, it's,
That's
you know,
good.
eggs, local eggs, or,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Local chicken's a big thing, so we
Yeah.
eat a lot of chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is that something you're trying to do more, like trying to fish, trying to learn how to fish better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only really fish off the boat when we go sailing, so it's more like fishing along the way. We don't actually like go out and specifically just to
We've done it
fish.
Once,
Maybe,
I think,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
or
a few
twice.
times.
But we also have to have the most perfect conditions because our boat is not very fast, and we don't have a motor that can just, you know, keep us at a certain speed to where we're going to catch fish. So that's why we tend to like to sail on the days that have a little bit heavier wind, so we can be a little faster.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I keep reverting back because this is the only sailing trip I've ever had. But
Love it.
in the Greece trip, my friend, I guess he was in the Navy, so he has some experience, and he literally set up 2 rods, and within an hour, they caught these 2 massive tunas.
Wow. That's awesome.
And yeah, it was awesome, and it was kind of really sad actually to see these poor fish. Like I was like, dude, I don't know. I was just like kind of like going vegetarian at the time. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah.
And like these fish were kind of not having the best time on the boat. But regardless, like I managed to block all that out. But my friend who works on a boat, he's been working on a boat for like probably 10 years at this point. And he made us he grilled the tuna. And honestly, till this day, it's top 5, one of the best things I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was so fresh, and like he barely used anything on this thing. He just grilled it with a little bit, maybe salt, pepper. It was, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
get any
getting
better
better.
than fresh anything, even
Yeah.
getting fresh veggies and fresh fruits, like just, definitely know what you mean.
Yeah, that's
How long are you still a vegetarian?
so I was kind of like a strict vegan for probably 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then in the last, I want to say 2 or 3 years, I've kind of added a few things. I'm still vegetarian, or I guess pescatarian, you can call it. I don't know, all these different labels.
Right.
But yeah, I don't eat like meat, but I'll eat like eggs and fish
You're
sometimes.
also pescatarian or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
There's so many labels. I'm just like,
I eat when it
honestly,
feels good.
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. And I know I'll probably get attacked for this by some vegans, but I mean honestly, just try. I the way I see it is try to do the least harm possible, and also but also try to eat or do what makes you feel good. Like if you're gonna try to let's say go completely vegan, but you're just not gonna be at your best, for maybe your body doesn't react well to it or whatever, then there's no point. You're not going to live your life suffering,
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to
Yeah.
find that balance.
Right.
100%.
And I don't know why people do it to themselves, but like food is our fuel. So like if you're gonna put something in your body that's gonna make you feel crappy, then I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. Like you're just destroying yourself.
Yeah,
You can't function properly. Yeah.
100%. And also that another thing I was noticed, like I feel like recently, like I'm there's so many more things that I'm kind of catching up on that are kind of mundane, but I feel like we're not doing them enough. And drinking water and having enough sunlight is one of those things where I'm trying to actually do much more of it. But like specific water, I'm trying to like only spring water, because it has like all the different, like you guys said, like all the different minerals that a lot of the waters that you drink just don't have them. They're just either purified or whatever, and they're almost neutral. They don't have anything. And the other thing, especially living in New England, where you have like a short. I mean, you guys have, you guys can You guys can sell us.
Clearly, I think both
Yeah.
probably got a lot of vitamin D stored up.
Yeah, you can sell us vitamin D, but here in New England, we just don't get that sun year round. So like I try to, every time there's like a sunny day, I just try to maximize and go out, sit for like an hour and just soak in that
Yeah.
sun.
That's huge, the sun, because when we lived up north, you get depressed because you don't have sun.
I would find myself sitting in the car with the heat on, with an arm stuck out of the window just to get real vitamin D.
Yeah.
And there's so many comments that we get on. Well, it's been a handful of comments that we've got on our YouTube channel. In the beginning, Beau is pretty white. So
like
far different from his tan. They're like, "Whoa, you were white, Beau."
If you look at episode 1 and look at our current episode, you'll be like, "Wow,
you were right." Yeah. Yeah.
It's good though. It's healthy, man. Like you both like you look like you're healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, and it's the sun, and I think it's just the stress. Stress is such a big thing. Like we don't have the worldly stresses that most people have.
We choose not to.
Well,
you know what I mean? We could easily be online looking the stuff up, and
that's true.
It's something that we have chosen to not necessarily ignore, but we are very picky about our sources of what we are trying to learn about what's going on. So we don't want to get into the masses of what's happening and bad news. And if it doesn't bring us joy, then why are we bothering with it?
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there anything that you guys miss, like about living on land, whether it's certain comforts or certain foods or certain anything?
Yeah, it's just tough to get stuff. Like, you don't think about it when you're living in the States. Yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
But just like
we were actually passed by Chick-fil-A yesterday. We were going to somewhere and we passed by Chick-fil-A. There was a line, I'm not exaggerating, of like 50 cars.
Wow.
Just waiting outside. Yeah. Yeah, man. Chick-fil-A's popular.
Yeah. It's just random stuff. Yeah.
Well, just for me, it's just like if I break, a handle or something, in the States, you could order it on Amazon and get it in a couple of days, or go to Walmart or whatever, Home Depot. Here, you need to ask 20 different people.
The place with the pink door upstairs of the yellow building.
Yeah, they might have it, but then you go there and, they direct you somewhere else. So you spend like 2 or 3 days and end up not getting the part. So, it's just, I don't know, the convenience of getting stuff is what I miss.
I think for me, it's been family. A lot of my siblings have young kids, and watching them grow up and, watching it through Instagram or Facebook, it's completely different than being there and knowing that I can just hop on a plane and go and visit. It's not something that we can do now, especially going into the States because of COVID. But I think it's family for me and nice, long, hot showers.
So yeah, I mean, what's the situation there? Like, do you have to shower outside on the deck, or?
Yep.
We could shower inside.
We have to set it up though. It's not set up for it.
Yeah, like when we say like this boat just got sailable. Yeah. Like we just prepped it to get ready to be able to sail. Mm-hmm. So a lot of systems didn't work when we took off. Yeah. That being one of them. It's just not that important. Yeah. But yeah, we just heat up a little bit of water and put in a Arizona tea gallon jug and just
we've tried like the solar showers and stuff, but it's just stuff that falls apart and it's inconvenient. So we've just kind of stuck to the basics, and as long as we're clean, we're good. We don't, we're in the ocean 95% of the time swimming. So it's just getting the salt water off us. I mean, I'd say we're pretty clean. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, you think of just the little day-to-day things that you do. It just takes a little bit longer, or can be a little more steps to do on the boat. And and you probably don't even think about the things that you do, that become challenges on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are though boats that like the fancy ones, right? That they have
washing
fully
machine. Like,
equipped.
yeah.
Yeah.
Washing machine, really?
Yeah. Now, granted,
we actually have
have a washing machine. Actually, someone gave us one, and
Really? Where does it fit?
It's like it's the size of a. Would you say, like maybe a cooler?
It actually came from Thailand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where. So we met a cruising couple, and they upgraded to a bigger one, nicer one, and they gave us.
They were just trying to get rid of it. Man.
Yeah.
But it's like a tiny little two compartment washer.
Yeah.
Like you could fit maybe, I don't know, four or five
towels,
pieces of clothing in there, and there's a little spin cycle in the other part. But it makes life so much easier.
But it's little things like, we only have a freezer. We don't have a refrigerator. A lot of people and it's a very small. So and we don't have the convenience of running out to the grocery store often because we're on these remote locations. So it's just remembering back in the day when, you had the big old refrigerator and there's things in the back that you haven't seen since, 3 years ago. Whereas here, we know everything that's in our freezer. And we do have a tiny refrigerator part. It's about the size of a block of cheddar cheese, maybe. But it's little things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess space is a big issue, right? As far as like, because there's a lot to store as well. Like your whole life is essentially on the boat, so clothes and I don't know, different things that you need on a daily basis. All has to be stored.
Yeah. You get real good on minimizing a lot of stuff real quick. I mean, through the Bahamas, we got rid of stuff.
We keep getting rid of stuff.
Yeah, we still get rid of stuff.
Yeah, we have winter clothes that we've never pulled out. We haven't pulled out in we pull them out just to see what we can get rid of,
We got rid of a lot of that. But, I mean, storage is a huge thing. And I am that person who I don't want to see anything. So if it can be behind a wall, like here or in a drawer, it makes me feel like things are organized. This could look like a disaster back here, but close that door and I'm good to go. But having everything have its place, we live very minimalistically.
Yeah, and I mean that's awesome because it shows you that you actually don't need that much.
Oh
right?
my gosh,
we actually don't need, because especially in the US, like we tend to overbuy and overconsume and then like I'm seeing like not to, but I see this here in this house a lot, that there's just a lot of things that I'm 100% sure that haven't been used in years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And actually, we find that we mend things. Like we repair, we reuse, we mend. We don't throw away and then just buy new because we don't have that option. You know,
it's not almost. It's more out of necessity than
right. Like if we still want to be able to use that thing, then I need to figure out how it works and fix it, or we just
if you want to keep wearing that, I have to sew it or whatever. Yeah,
or we just deal without it. It's either we have it or we don't.
Yeah. It's amazing because it makes you think outside the box as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
You get creative.
Yeah.
For example, when we were in the Bahamas, we blend our coffee and our whisk broke, or our immersion blender broke. So Beau fashioned his drill and a whisk, and we used the drill for months.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked.
It totally worked. And I was like, boom, more than one use. I mean, that's the thing. If it comes on the boat, it's got to have more than one use.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, that's something I talked about in the beginning. I was like, Beau, do you have any background in I don't know, anything that has to do with maintenance, fixing? Because you just seem like you're very good at it. Even right off the bat in the beginning, I was like, thanks. This guy must have some background, because I wouldn't know how to do half the stuff, to be honest with you, in the beginning at least.
No, I like to get into things. My dad was at do a DIY kind of guy, and I guess I kind of inherited that. But as I like getting my hands into things and figuring things out and that sort of thing, I guess it's just what I enjoy. So I'm not afraid to take something apart and not be able to get it back together the way it was. If that happens, then oh well, it's already broken. So
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, Roy. He pulls out some of the stuff and like somehow he just knows that this should touch that or that shouldn't touch that, or that's why it's broken. It's crazy. I don't know how he does it. It's super impressive. It's just how his brain works.
Yeah. Good for you, man. Especially on a boat, it's important, and I'm sure like Brandy probably has full confidence that you can do it. So
Yep, because really, there's no other way. And even things like, even if we wanted to have certain thing fixed, finding someone who can fix it is a really hard thing.
Well, that and yeah,
and spending the money on it and hoping that they're doing it right.
Right.
So
I've been burned in the past of just even taking my car into the shop and spending $5,000
removing stitches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, spending $5,000 to end up with a car that was the same before I brought it in. So it's just, for me, it's a little frustrating. So I'd rather take the blame and be like, okay, I screwed it up or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's an awesome skill. I think it's something that actually I've tried to do. My dad is kind of the same. He's always been very good with his hands. He can take a car apart and put it together, and I've just never had that skill for some reason. And it's not for a lack of interest, just for a lack of patience, perhaps, or maybe not. And I don't know. I've just never put enough effort into it. But I've always there's a YouTube channel that I don't think he posts anymore, but I used to be obsessed with this guy. He's like, I don't know if he's out in Australia or somewhere in the South, but he doesn't talk throughout the whole video, and he builds all these things from like clay from scratch. Like he builds the tools. He builds like this house and all these different pots and pan. Everything's from clay and mud and like rocks, but he built it with his bare hands. And
that's awesome.
It's unbelievable what this guy does. And I have the most, I actually try to get him on the podcast, but it's impossible to find him. But but I love people like that. I love people that are good with their hands and can build and can make something from nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he didn't do it the very first day.
Well, I guess, and that's the thing.
I hope
too.
not.
Yeah,
you're like, man, now forget about it. I definitely can't do it.
Yeah, I got no chance.
Yeah, it's just building on basics. You start out small with, okay, if you're doing something electrical, okay, positive, negative, and then just build up from there. I think that helps too. And constantly, and if you constantly are fixing things,
just buy an old boat and you'll constantly do some things. You'll actually be forced to do so. Yeah. It was almost like you can kind of reference it into our sailing journey. We bought a boat that is all manual. We didn't have an autopilot, so there was no self-steering. We had to steer. We have to change the sails. Everything is manual. There's not one electronic on here except for our cell phone with our Navionics, which is our navigation system. So I think it really forced us to learn the wind. We had to, and also we have an electric electric motor that we don't rely on. We rely on it because it doesn't do a long distance. It's, there is no motor sailing for us, which a lot of people will do out here, that if the wind's really light, they just throw on their motor and they throw up a sail and then they go on. We either have to sit and wait for the wind or we bob around. So it's just learning. I think it forced us to learn faster than what we would have learned if we had all the bells and whistles. So especially for me, because we're both very hands-on. So I think it really helped us. So, yeah.
It's definitely challenging.
Yeah. But to learn, it
was
forced us to learn.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to say.
It was definitely a bigger challenge doing it that way, and that can put a lot of people off.
Yeah.
No, I think it's amazing. I think especially when essentially your life depends on knowing the boat from start to finish, soup to nuts, from end to end. Like you have to know everything about it, and really the only way to do that is just by getting in and just trying everything. So you want to be confident that if something arises, you can fix it and you can take care of it. There's I remember there was an episode I saw that was kind of, I guess, a little scary for you guys, where there was a boat that approached. I think it was in kind of the middle of the night or something, right? And it was kind of sketchy, and there was these guys. Can you tell that story? Can you tell what happened?
Sure. So there's two sides to that story. My side and her side. So
the side who saw things and the side who didn't get to see things.
Yeah. So we're going through. So the location was we're going through a passage between Cuba and Haiti, and it's called the Windward Passage. Through there, the wind's not the best. It can be super light or it can be really, really strong. There's not a lot of in between. So was this after we ripped our mainsail?
Yes.
Okay. So the night prior, we had ripped our mainsail just with a super large squall went through. It jumped up the wind speed, and we're still new to it, so we made some bad mistakes and ended up ripping our sail. And so this next night, we actually had our anchor light on, so we could see our wind indicator. It basically tells you where the wind's coming from.
Our anchor light is the light that is in the very top of our mast. So it's kind of like a beacon for everybody to see.
Yeah, you can see it pretty far away. Mm-hmm. So I think that was like one thing that kind of
attracted.
It's like flies to the light or whatever.
Moth to a flame.
Yeah, moth to a flame. Yeah. There you go. But it was probably 10:30 at night, and she had just laid down to go to bed. We were clicking along pretty good, like 6 knots.
But we were exhausted because of the night before and all of that. There was just a lot of very tiredness.
Yeah. And I was listening to music. It wasn't anything too loud, but just enough to kind of keep my brain going. Yeah. And I started to see this flashing light, like just kind of intermittently flashing, and it was coming from behind me. So I turn around just to see what it was, and I couldn't really tell. It looked like a very small vessel, whatever it was. And I tell Brandy about it. I was like, "Hey, there's some people, in a boat that are coming up to us. Grab the machete."
No. This is how it goes with
grab the shotgun.
Yeah, this is how it goes with my end. I had literally just fallen asleep. So I'm just waking up, and he's telling me that these people are on our, I could see the light flashing at that point. So I can't find the machete. I hand him a kitchen knife, and we don't have guns on the boat. I hand him one of our big flashlights. So it's a high-powered flashlight. And I actually tried to hail the Coast Guard because we were close enough to Guantanamo Bay that we should have gotten reception, but we didn't get an answer. And they didn't have a radio. So they weren't trying to radio us, the people who were approaching us. So I never came out of the cabin. I only stayed in because I didn't want them to see that there was another person, especially a female on board. And Oona was downstairs with me, so there wasn't an extra barking or anything extra outside. So back up to Beau.
Yeah, and these guys were actually pretty respectful. And that's, I think, something some people get a little misconstrued with pirates. pirates aren't going to let you know that they're coming up on you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to get attacked by pirates, you'll probably be shot before you even know what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, these guys were clearly looking for help. So they come up and they were basically lost fishermen. There was 3 of them in maybe a 15-foot skiff.
50 nautical miles off of the coast.
Yeah, they were pretty far out.
They were pretty far out to be in a small skiff.
Yeah. And we've heard different things, like they could have been dropped off by a bigger boat and then they do illegal fishing in the area or something. I don't know. But regardless, they were looking for Port-au-Prince, which is in Haiti. Yeah. And I gave them directions.
Hand signals.
Yeah, basically told them where to go.
Oh, that star. Yeah. I mean, it was really, yeah.
And, you know, they were asking if I had any spare GPS or anything. I'm like, look, all I got is this phone that's and my compass, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I told them where to go, and they ended up not even going that way. Yeah. And then it was weird. And then they started chatting amongst themselves. I could still hear them, and they came back.
Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know if there was a little bit of dialect. They spoke English, but probably not, it wasn't their first language. So they might have been confused on what I was telling them. So they came back and, hey, you know, what did you say to us? Like, where are we supposed to go? Where is it? So I told them again. And at that point, they were asking for other things like, do you have any spare gas? Or can you help us out with anything, you know? I'm like,
it seems a bit sketchy, yeah.
Yeah. Then it's like, okay, well, you know, what is this here?
You know, he's out there hand steering, and we're an electric boat, so sorry.
Yeah.
I hope you find me that. We feel. I mean, you know, for me, I'm not seeing any of this, so all of it's playing up in my head. You know, especially when they left and then came back. Like, oh my gosh, so where are the other boats at? Because we have heard of other boats that the one lookout boat comes up to kind of assess, and then they leave and another boat comes, and, you know, then a whole bunch of boats come and they board your boat. But that's thankfully wasn't this case. I mean, our boat is very bare. There wasn't, if that's what they were out for, they were not going to get much.
Yeah.
So it was just for me, it was a very scary situation because it's dark. You're in the middle of nowhere. There's no communication to anybody, you know, so. But yeah.
100%. Did you guys think of, you know, security a little bit different afterwards? Or you're like, you know, maybe we should have something on board just in case, or no?
You know, we discussed it and talked about it, and we won't carry guns because it's just, you're probably going to end up getting yourself killed with a gun than you would without. Like I said, like if there are pirates that are looking to take your boat,
they have a little more of advantage too, because we're in a fiberglass boat. They open fire on our boat, and our boat's probably gonna.
That plus they're carrying semi-automatic weapons or, you know, big AK-47s or whatever they be. You know, this is their livelihood. You know, they do this on the regular. So for us to be carrying guns, one, the hassle of going to different countries with guns. Yeah. They basically seize your weapon and hold on to it until you leave.
And most of these attacks are happening at anchor.
So when you're at these islands and stuff, when you
can't even
exactly, when you're not even going to have your weapon, that's more than likely when you're going to get attacked.
Yeah. I mean, there's ways around things, you know, people say flares or throwing gasoline. What do they call them? The Molotov cocktails.
Molotov?
Yeah. But it's, I mean, for us, we just know we're an anomaly too, because I mean, we have met how many sailors out here, and we haven't heard of one other sailor who's been approached.
Right.
Yeah.
Except for like maybe during the day. If it was during the day, it would have been, again, it was nighttime. So it makes it even more.
It's completely different, Daytime, nighttime interactions, completely different.
Like daytime, okay, they're supposed to be out here. They got lost or whatever. They're fishing. nighttime, what the heck are they doing out here? It was completely different.
But I guess from a security standpoint, we did change some things when we're night sailing.
Yeah.
Now, like in those areas, we'll run dark.
Yeah.
So we basically won't have our running lights on or anything.
Now, having said that, we are also constantly behind the helm. So we don't have the autopilot. We do now have an autopilot, but we wouldn't have it on. We would be standing behind the helm, so we'd always be conscious of what's
so we
going
would
on
have
with us.
visuals of other
Other
ships,
boats, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because the biggest thing is like getting hit by a big tanker.
But you're not really looking.
You know?
Those aren't the places that you're going to have the issues of being approached in busy channels,
right?
Yeah. So, but we have chosen to try not to live in fear. So we're that's kind of more of our motto of. We wouldn't be doing this if we were fearful of things like that. It happened. We learned, and the
video comes off very
because it was in the moment. It was raw. It was real. It's exactly how I felt, and there's a lot of feedback.
Yeah,
on that video.
We got some colorful comments on that.
But to me, I'm like, that's not why we are out here doing this and why we film, because we also filmed our Mayday. So we film these things. So when people have the idea like we did of, oh man, I would really like to go sailing. It's not always rainbows, butterflies, and tropical fruit. It's real deal stuff. And it's how you handle it is what really is going to make or break you.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as YouTube comments, I think, yeah, I mean, you can't take that. Yeah, you can't take that shit too seriously. It's just it is what it is.
No, can't.
Oh yeah, if that were the case, we would have stopped a long time ago.
What you think about me has nothing to do with me. So.
Yeah, you just have to put it out there, like even on on Twitter or Instagram. Sometimes I'll put I'll legit put out an article about helping people, and people will shit on it in weird ways that have nothing to do with the articles, and I never respond. I'm like, okay, fine.
Don't give them the energy. Yeah, exactly. Right. We choose not to interact with the negative comments. Most of them get hidden or
and it's something to always I try to keep in my mind. At least when I was answering, she answers them now because I'm like,
Beau couldn't handle it.
I'm done.
Yeah.
But it's just it almost seems like they're saying negative things just to get attention, just to, in a sense, it's like they want to be part of it, but they're doing it in the wrong way.
But to every one of those guys that we have an amazing community of people who are following our journey that can have only ever said super nice things. That's what we focus on, because if we focused on the negative, we would never get anywhere.
Yeah. It generally in life. Yeah.
Exactly.
I interview a lot of like MMA and Muay Thai, and like I'm really into fighting. I used to be an amateur fighter. And,
oh, nice.
And when I talk to them, they say exactly the same thing. They're like, on my YouTube or Twitter or Instagram, I'll get all these people saying really bad stuff to me. And it's because of this, there's this cloak of anonymity, right? Like you're in your desk somewhere, and
keyboard
somebody
warrior.
Exactly. And they'll and the fighters I talk to, they're like, dude, come say that to my face. And I'm like, because they can do this under a sense of anonymity and no one will ever find them. They're just they just feel free to shit on everybody's achievements.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, but that's the internet for you.
Yeah.
But, we're out here living our dream. We're not living anybody else's dream. So if it doesn't make you happy, okay.
I just never understand. I never understand why would you take the time to look at something and then go shit on it? If you know what I mean, like that's a lot of negative effort to put into something.
It just goes to show the type of person who's doing that. You know what I mean? Like, why are you going out of your way?
Exactly.
To comment something negative. It is weird. It's random. It says a lot about their character, but
a lot of broken people. So what do you what do you guys think as far as the future? Like, I know maybe right now you're not planning like too far, but like, do you see this, as just something you guys maybe want to do for the next 2 to 3 years or forever, or do you have like an idea?
Yeah, as long as
We're
it's
happy.
yeah, we're happy doing it.
Yeah.
Basically,
And we physically can.
right.
Yeah,
We love this lifestyle. Just I don't know, being able to take your home with you anywhere you want to go.
yeah, like a sea turtle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sea turtles out here.
we we've lived in Florida, so we could even just take the boat back to Florida and just live on the boat in Florida. No, that's not what we want to do, but I'm just saying, like,
Brandy's face was like, no.
It really struck home for me during COVID when we went to the USVIs. And the reason we had gone there was we were either going to go back to the States or we were going to go south if anything opened. And at that point, nothing down south had opened. So we were looking at going back to the States, and it just hit me like a brick wall, whatever, like hit me like a brick that I don't even want to go there. I don't want to go back the way we came. I want to just keep going forward. Now, I have to kind of think about that too in the future. If we need to do any boat work or maintenance, it would be easier to go back to the States for it. But I'm just not ready to even go back to the States. Just want to keep going forward. But Beau does, to make it easier for boat projects.
Yeah, I like getting the stuff, doing boat projects would be way easier back in a yard in Florida or North Carolina or somewhere. So.
Well, we'll see. Have you guys met any like, old timers that have maybe been doing this, for like 30 years or something? Like, those guys that have just been living off the boat forever?
Well, we've met a lot of people who've been sailing. Like they'll go out sailing a lot, but they not
have a home base
cruising.
To go back to.
Like cruising's way different than going out at a week at a time or whatever, because you go back to your normal life. But when you're out here cruising, it's just a completely different lifestyle.
We've met a couple of old salts for sure. Yeah. That have been this is what they've been doing. Like Smitty. He's been out here a while.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's been several.
Good for Smitty.
Yeah. Well, we actually don't. His name's not Smitty, but he dresses like Smitty off of Peter Pan, and he's Swedish, and I don't know how to properly say his name, so I've nicknamed him Smitty. I think that's what his name is in Peter Pan. I don't know.
That's a great nickname.
Yeah. Shmee.
Shmee. Yeah.
Captain Hook's sidekick.
Yeah. I saw that a long time ago. I have to Google that.
I think it is Shmee.
Schmitty, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, I guess not too many. I'm sure, like as we get away from the Caribbean, we'll probably meet more.
Yeah,
it's a lot of families and younger people and people who are from the States and they go back to the States, and this is just a season or two that they're going to be down here. So, or they crossed over from Europe and they continue on to the South Pacific. I feel like the people who have left Europe have traveled faster than we have. Like they've come over and they're already in the Pacific. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
On a schedule, because they're going back, so for us, we don't have a schedule. We're doing this as long as we can.
Yeah. I mean, there's a massive culture of sailing over there. I remember even in Greece, like the docks would just be packed with boats, just every dock, and same with Turkey. And it's just, it's people from different European countries just, I don't know, just enjoying life, just enjoying the alternative lifestyle.
Yeah.
Were you guys sailing during season? Like sailing season?
When did we? I mean, I don't know when sailing season is, but it was around June, July, something like that. Like summer.
I think it's the summer months typically. Yeah. We just recently talked to somebody who cruised that area, and they said 3 months or 3 weeks out of the year is just insane with like sailors and stuff.
Greece?
Yeah. In the Med.
In the Med.
In general.
Yeah.
And then after that, it kind of dies out. So
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Because yeah, it gets a little chilly, I guess, like around probably November to March
okay.
ish. Yeah, but then there's a relatively long summertime. Yeah, I haven't been in a while. I have to go back.
Yeah.
So
Well, guys, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I was more personal stuff. I was just curious on like what made you move over to the States from Israel?
Initially, yeah, no, it was kind of twofold. One was I was going through some personal stuff back home, and I needed a change, and I met my current wife while I was traveling to the U.S. and I kind of wanted to do something else. So I took up. I came as a student to the U.S. So got an F1 visa. Came as a student. I studied photography and digital editing
Nice.
for about a year and a half. And then after studying for about a year and a half, I did something completely different when I started a, a CPG company. So, yeah,
Oh,
all
cool.
that studying like led to like I never kind of did anything professional with it. I still enjoy it like on an amateur level and just to go out and shoot and stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
That's cool.
Never did anything with it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you just once you met her, yeah, you just decided to stay after.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I've trying to travel as much as I can, like outdoor stuff, you know, from snowboarding to mountaineering and hiking and trying to just the US is just so vast, so trying to explore as much as possible and
Right.
yeah, there's still a lot to explore now. It's crazy because this year started off, you know, I went like snowboarding in Japan and then I went snowboarding in Italy. And literally, as soon as we left Italy, everything shut down.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and we
What
we left
experiences
Italy.
though? Holy moly!
Yeah,
That's awesome,
yeah,
man.
yeah. It was that's the thing. Like, it was a very fun start to the year.
Womp. Glad you got it in.
I know, right? I literally, as soon as we left Italy, like about 2 weeks later, the whole country shut down. Like, Italy was one of the worst hit countries. And then it came over to New York, so it was chasing us.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But yeah, but I guess that's life, man. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing. I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty, and this is something I actually talked to a friend the other day. There's a lot of uncertainty now, in I feel it in my life, and I'm sure a lot of people feel it in their life. You know, as far as what does the future hold financially, with my job, with, you know, a lot of people are leaving New York and LA and some of the other big cities. So I feel like there's uncertainty there. Like, where, you know, where should I live? Where do I want to live? I just feel like 2020 is, and you can take it in a bad way where, you know, you don't really know what to do with your life. But I feel like for me, actually, there's a lot of like positive things that happen. Like, I realized I actually don't want to live in a big city. I actually realized that I realized a few things about how I want to live and what kind of job I want to do, that maybe if, you know, this kind of like shutdown wouldn't have happened, potentially maybe I wouldn't have realized.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
a good way to look at it. Yeah, it's a big awakening. You know,
Yeah.
it's an abrupt change that makes you reevaluate things.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Trying to take a negative and spin it into a positive.
Yeah.
Silver lining.
Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much. I really, I had a lot of fun. You know, you guys,
Yeah, us too.
super inspirational, and I love the journey you're on. And
Nice.
you know, it's amazing that I and a lot of people can just be, you know, feel like we're a part of it.
Cool. Glad
That's
we
what
could
we're
bring you
hoping.
along. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome, honestly. Yeah, maybe, you know, who knows? Maybe next year, if COVID is over and everything allows, we'll you know, we'll drop on by.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to any of that part of the world, so I'd love to. I'd love to
wow.
come.
Yes.
No, it's beautiful down here. Yeah. If we're here,
Yeah.
we'll see. Wherever we are.
Yeah, we'll catch you in Fiji.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for having us, Roy.
Yeah, man, I'm happy we could do it. Where can people find you on? You know, where are the preferred social media?
Beau and Brandy on pretty much everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah. Okay,
Twitter.
guys,
Not very active
make
on
sure. Yeah, Twitter is not as visual, right?
it. Yeah.
Make and I'll put everything in the show notes, make it easy for everyone to find. But guys, make sure you follow their channel. It's super cool. It's a lot of fun. It's very entertaining, and maybe it'll get you to buy a boat. Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know.
Come on, join us down here.
Yeah,
Water
who
is just fine.
knows? The mosquitoes don't bite.
Yeah, right.
They bite.
They do.
All right. Well, we'll keep in touch. Hopefully, we can do it again, and keep safe, guys. We'll talk
Yeah,
soon.
for sure. Thanks,
Thank
Roy.
you.
See ya.
All right. Have a good one.